start somewhere with the footprint of what we want.
Once we get all
Those
those
other
other
costs
costs, figure that out.
Yeah, well, so the way I see it, we pass a referendum at whatever dollar amount that we choose, we have to stay within that, in that time, in that frame. So how can we best utilize that money? Of course, that will come in. Those are pretty, they're not accurate. Of course, things come down through the bidding process and everything. But it does say, hey, this is our pot, it can't exceed this, because one, we don't have reserves and we don't have the ability to increase it. So whatever it is, it's going to be something like this, maybe tighter footprint.
Well, we finish going around the table. Steve, what's your thoughts?
I think if we were in Las Vegas, I'd say take the gamble, but we're not. We're going to grow. And I would probably say that the biggest thing that I see, you know, like even if you look at gas prices now, the tax on gas, right? You see how much, you know, gas prices went up. It was what, like 30 cents? And I saw that and I felt it, you know? So think about, you know, when you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, you know, when you look at a $30 million option, you know, I mean, it's gonna raise taxes. I mean, we're talking a good amount of money. So my worry is that we get one shot at this, one shot to go out there. And I'll go back to what I said from the beginning. If there wasn't a problem at Harpool, we probably wouldn't be talking about any of this, you know. But you know, so the best, in my opinion, with the fact that we owe a lot of money on Oriole Bowl, and I've said it from day one, is that, you know, go with the path of least resistance, because that's probably, you know, like you said, it always comes down to taxes. The path of least resistance is that option. So we can always tweak it out, but yeah, I mean, and I just, you know, we haven't had a referendum in Morton Grove in how long?
I don't remember a park referendum.
And none of us are educated, are really well educated in referendums. So, you know, we're going to get there. But that's just my concern is when you go with a lot of money, an option that's a lot of money, I think it's going to freak people out. I think people are already going to be freaked out. I'd be freaked out. So that's my thought.
So you're leaning to one, is what you're saying?
I think it's the most, in my opinion, I think it's the most reasonable one that has a chance of passing. I think it's going to be a tough ride with any of the options, but that's always been my position from day one. That's what I think, and I'm open to tweaking any of it, and I think we will. But that's my
Keith?
I agree that I'm leaning towards one, and you know you're going to get feedback from the community, what they prefer. But you know, another thing I thought was interesting here, I was reading in the recreation report that as of July 10th, there were 17 pool rentals booked for the summer. 6 are at Oriole and 11 at Har. Any insight on?
I'm going to guess the time of day has a lot to do with that. Remind me as to when we offer rentals at Har.
It's earlier than Oriole.
Yeah, earlier in the day. So
That's because it's not a preference, it's because of the availability. Okay, I was wondering.
But you know what, Keith, that's a good question. I mean, we can reach out to these rentals and ask them why they chose Har over Oriole. Because
Yeah,
I would
it's
think
because
because of the
it's a
big
bigger
slide,
pool.
they're
Right,
older kids, that the
right.
big slide appeals to them.
I was just curious when I saw that, I was kind of amazed at that.
Yeah, we can definitely look to see why they're, or do they know this could potentially be the last year and they want to get in, you know?
Yeah.
yeah, we'll put that in the weekly update.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I agree that having one option is better than having 3 or 4. And, you know, obviously, once we hear from the community, we can tweak it from there. And we'll just think this is all I use.
Yeah, I agree with option 1. The price is right. I don't think I'd be able to vote on a high tax increase right there. But it must be a lot. So, yeah.
And I actually think option 1 would be our best bet.
Okay.
And we can tweak it, you can move, I like your idea, because that was, you
Yeah.
came up with that idea of moving the pool house, and then you can look out at the park, when you're in the pool,
Right.
and you can do future, you know, in the future, we could add on to that if
Yeah.
if we wanted to.
Yeah, okay, so
Very good.
I heard very
You
clearly,
didn't even get a chance to.
Yeah.
yeah, so I very clearly present one option, option one, these town hall meetings.
And there's a lot of things you can tweak. If you want to bring the cost down, and you put the diving well back into the pool, doesn't that bring it down a little bit?
Probably, most likely,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
You know, because that's a 50-meter pool, it's a big pool.
right. I mean, we got a lot like lawn,
Yeah.
which I don't know about Keith, but I'm not a big fan of natural areas and pools and grass. It's just, it clogs the filters, it's just a disaster. I don't want to go in there and mow it either. Yeah, so I mean, we can certainly tighten.
I mean, if that's what people
Yeah,
would like that a
Yeah.
little bit, you know.
again, we'll just tell them that this isn't, it's not a final
I mean,
concept.
I think
Yeah.
that
Right.
concept is,
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Okay.
Okay, separate, but.
okay, awesome. I'll do that.
You want
We're just parking maintenance.
park and maintenance, that would be Commissioner Schmidt.
Yes, the Austin Park redevelopment plan cost.
Yes, so we are putting together the application for the OSLAG grant. One of the things that we have to do is get a final approval of the cost estimates. And after we have met with the community a couple of times, we've met with Upland Design, who's helping us with the park and the grant. We've tweaked a few things several different times, and we've come up with a total cost estimate of $447,347. So, again, I just want to reiterate that, yes, OSLAD is being funded this year. We are probably going to be one of many park districts, special recreation and sports reserves that are going to compete for this. If we do get the grant, we'll do the whole project. If not, we will just do, excuse me, the playground replacement.
Jeff, are there ways that we can set ourselves apart to be able to get a grant like that?
So, talking to Michelle, just what we're able to put into the park sets us apart, especially the nature area that we've put in there, the exploratory play area. Believe it or not, the butterfly garden is a huge thing. It's a monarch way station, so that's a big thing. So being able to incorporate some nature into an urban area is one of the things that we look for, so that's, so.
That's great.
All right. So, sir. You got your pen? Action item.
Sorry. Present it. That's what we read. I move to accept the recommendation of the Parks and Facilities Maintenance Committee to approve the cost estimate of $447,300 for the redevelopment of Austin Park.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none?
Commissioner White,
Aye.
Commissioner Schmidt, Commissioner Manna,
Aye.
Commissioner Jefferson, Commissioner Davis.
Aye. Run them over, we don't have our attorney here. so-
Yeah, I'll find out when they're done.
Okay, we'll just put that on.
Yeah.
And do we have any public comments on anything?
Yeah, we have two visitors
Yeah.
tonight, so,
I'm sorry.
yeah, if you could just state your name and your address.
My name is Dr. Kurti. I've been living in Morton for 52 years. I raised 7 children. My youngest one is little of 10 years, and he looks, all my children look very tall. I'm very old, very shrunk. Because my son loves the gym. I think probably one day now. My request is, because physically is very strong and very tall, I like the possibility to my son You will not go to the weightlifting area, muscle building, only aerobics. You know, where we have the arbitrary machines and so on, the treadmill and so on.
Yeah, maybe I can help out a little bit. So you have a son, and your son is
Little over 10 years.
10 years of age.
Yeah,
He wants to
10
be able to
years
go
and 6
with
months.
his father to use the fitness center, but we have an age limitation of 14. I told him that I could not give him permission to, not, we have an age limit, that's the policy of that, and if he wanted to, pursue it any further, then he would have to come to you and plead his case. That's why his 10-year-old son should be allowed to be in the fitness center with him at the same time.
And he was
But he's
walking-
not using anything.
Does he want to work out with you? I mean, is that, or are you teaching him something?
Oh, yes, yes. He's very healthy now guy. He's 5'8".
Well, I was just asking, like, why you wanted to go?
170
Yeah,
pounds.
he's
Most people are.
just for fitness. From my understanding, it's just for fitness. You guys do it together.
Yes.
Some of you
They
do
go on
together.
treadmills. Does he lift weights, or is it just on the treadmill?
treadmill?
Yeah,
But
just on the
boards
treadmill.
have to start.
Yeah.
Now, when once he's like 16, then we can get it.
What's is the policy for just a safety issue, Jeff? I mean, is that what we have for 14?
It's safety, and it's just, typically, 10-year-old is not really mature enough to be down in there, even if they're being supervised by their parents. Typically, you see parents over here, kids over here. It's just
But
a
then,
distraction.
first I do like about 35-40 minutes of aerobic thing, orbital machines, and then I go and do some
The only hard thing though is that
muscle building.
if we
But
have
my son will be there on
if we make an exception though, see, the hard thing is, and I have a 10-year-old son too, and I'd love to take it, but if you make an exception and then you bring your son, then everybody's gonna start
Everybody's
bringing
gonna-
them, and
the.
that's,
No, I can do one thing. If it helps, I know we're talking about money, I will have to give $1,000.
Yeah, so, we've had this issue come up before in the past. I've asked Sue to, send me the information again, and, we're right in the middle, we're right where everybody else is.
That's what I was gonna ask
So,
you.
Niles 14, Niles Family Fitness Center 14, Skokie, they have junior memberships from 14 to 17, so
Okay.
kind of outside that, but they do go as young as 11, as long as they're part of the family and part of the pass. Glenview, 13 to 15.
I believe Lifetime Fitness.
Park Ridge, 13 to 15.
Lifetime Fitness is 14 also.
Yeah, Des Plaines,
I mean,
14.
the last thing I would want to do is ever deny somebody a chance to take their child with them, I mean, especially if they want to go. Like, I could, if my son asked me, but my question would be, how can we justify, it's not a money issue, how do we justify that to other families that want to take
Yeah.
their child? Then everybody's going to be bringing in their 10-year-old child that has one, and I don't know.
He has a pass. I'm sure he will pay it.
You know what I mean?
No, I
I
do,
feel
and
bad.
that's the struggle that we were, like, I can't make an exception.
We can't.
It's just, I understand why you want to do it, it's just, that's a policy that we set up, and I don't have the ability to change the policy or skirt the policy, so.
Laura, do you have
I-
anything to add to that?
It becomes a safety issue because he obviously can't be on the machinery at the same time as his son, and so he's on it by himself.
But
And,
you only come with me, man.
right, I understand that, but I'm just saying, you're in different pieces of machinery separate from each
No,
other.
always looking at him.
But it's not.
Well, looking at him is one
First,
thing.
It's not a
Yeah.
size issue, it's not a height issue, it's not maturity, it's just, it's strictly, we have an age requirement, and that's solely where it's.
And that's there for a reason.
And God forbid something
Exactly.
happens. I mean,
Right.
From a risk management,
Yeah.
side of this, that's, we don't make up the rules. It's a safety issue.
Yeah, you know what,
It's not how tall you are, how short you are, how big you are, how small you are. It's an age limit. And I don't know of any other health clubs that allow.
We're a family of doctors.
I
all these,
understand.
I mean, 4 of these are licensed medical doctors.
It's more of a risk management.
Yeah, that's,
Okay, so why don't, if you could leave Claudia your telephone number, I'll give you a call tomorrow.
Okay.
And we can talk a little bit more about maybe some options. 'Cause-
yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right?
Okay.
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 Okay. 2 guests in one night. It's pretty-
That's awesome.
It's an exciting day.
I know it.
I'm Jenna Downing, and I'm here representing the Community Relations Commission of the village. So if you don't know what it is, we are volunteers, residents. We also have like 2 superintendents on part of the group.
I'm sorry, you're standing right in front of the camera.
I'm staying away from the camera.
Okay, thank you.
So we run the photo contest, the adopt a planner contest, village garage sale, the little free library, which is what I'm here to talk about. So we just had our ribbon cutting last week. And I know that this makes 2 weeks were there. It's actually been there for a year. It's on village property, like right in front of Village Hall on Capilina. And I talked with Jeff and then also with Erica about putting one on Park District property so that more people can have access to it. I got the idea of the little free library to bring it to the Village Hall because I'm a preschool teacher in Evanston and my kids use the library that's on Evanston property, and so if they don't want to go on the playground, then they're like, oh, I'm going to go look for a book and read it. So our idea, my counterpart is out of town, so she couldn't be here, but is to put it maybe at least to start where the preschools or summer camps on park property, so that the kids, when they're out, have the option, or adults too, walking through, have the option to go and get a book or leave a book.
Right, so this came up before, what, maybe 3 years ago?
Because I was going to say, we last year is when we came up with the idea, or that's when it was on village property. One of us emailed, but I never got a response, I think, at the time, so.
Yeah,
This was a different group like 3 years ago.
Oh, okay, so
Yeah,
this is,
and
this
we
is
had some
different.
concerns that we wanted to make sure that we didn't step on toes with the library.
Yeah, and the library is in
is on
partnership
board.
with the village.
And this
okay.
is certainly more of an expansion of what we initially thought we would have one, I believe it was here, but now we want to do it in front of all the preschools so that, you know.
Or whatever works for the park to start off with and see how you guys
I
feel.
believe
about
there's
it.
a couple on residential streets.
Yeah, there are. I think all of the schools that are in Morton Grove have them now. Parkview just got 2 this last year. I know, I think Edison has one, and then a few churches have them as well. And then
But also in a residential area.
yeah, and then
It's not
once
there.
we put the one on village property and started sharing about that, people were calling and saying, I want one on my property, and so it's slowly growing. But if you register the free library, it can be on a map that shows you internationally, and so we put Morton Grove on a map of all the little free libraries that are registered throughout the world, so.
So if you want, we can certainly, talk about what sites to put them on, and then we can talk to Keith about best location to put them at. So if that's okay with you, we can go ahead and.
Who provides them?
So you can build them yourself, or you can order them through the little free library. You can order them depending on how you want it. You can make it look like another building that's in the village.
So that would be our cost.
Yeah, it would be your cost. It's like roughly, I mean, you could go as low as 200. It's just a little house on a stake, but I would say 300 to 400 depending on how big and how small. And I know one concern when we were bringing it up with the village was who's going to maintain them, but they kind of become self-maintained, and the people that use them are the ones that are taking and leaving and like making sure they look nice, and so it's a community thing. And
You like books?
Yeah.
Maybe we get a little house for her. But a bunch.
My mother's library.
Okay, Yeah, just, I'll email you and we'll
Yeah.
figure out which one.
Or
where
if
to
you have
put 'em.
questions about any of it, we've got lots of information.
Great.
Thank you, Marty, you can put your accounting books on.
There are some
I
interesting.
only have one.
All right.
It's that little, it's like a little house and then it's.
I just want to say thank you again to all the staff. I've been to a lot of events this past month, and my family's had a great time. Between the pop-up plays, the Morton Grove comedian show we had, my show, we've had a good month of July, so thank you.
I'll say the same on the staff that are doing a tremendous job. I know we've had some changes, but everyone is doing a great job. The only thing I'm still kind of puzzled at why we don't get a lot more people out on our concert nights. Even I was sitting down with some people the last couple weeks, and they're like, "What? It's a beautiful night out. Why aren't we getting more people out here for free concerts?" So that kind of puzzles me, but that's because people really enjoy it. So
Work on the music selection. Theme it
You
up.
gotta get face the music, I think.
Yeah, theme it up.
You gotta get the hometown favorite
Listen,
out
boy,
there.
you gotta theme it up, and you gotta get different bands. I
You can help you.
can help.
Yeah, I
increase
know.
the budget.
Yeah, pardon?
Or increase the budget.
Yeah, that's true, right. Yeah. So in Deerfield, we did it on Sunday Sunday evenings. And that worked out really well. People were winding down for the weekend, getting ready. But more importantly, bands are traveling back home, and it's easy for them to just stop, play a gig, and then finish on going home. So, but, that's just a struggle that we have on Tuesday nights. So.
Sure.
Yeah. But, we've heard from the community survey, that's the big thing that people really do enjoy.
Music is good therapy.
Commissioner Mann?
No comments.
Commissioner myself? I just want to say, I want to also thank the staff. I've been to concerts in the park. I thought that the children's activities at Morton Grove Days was really good until we had to get out of the park because of the lightning. And I thought Jeff was quite comical that day with Gerald Lynn. Telling jokes. I thought everybody liked that. I mean, everybody was laughing and having a good time. You did a good job. Keep up the good work.
Last year we had heat.
Yeah, right, we did.
101 degrees.
Yeah. And Commissioner Pat?
No comment.
Okay. Do we have a?
Yes, question?
I make the motion for the board to go into closed sessions in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, Section 120/2C1, or the Section 122C21.
Second.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Commissioner Vano?
Aye.
Commissioner Epperson? Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Commissioner White?
Aye.
Adjourn.